We're back for the fourth hour of the Alex Jones Show with me, your host, Paul Joseph Watson, and we have a very important video coming up at the bottom of the hour, which I put together basically over the course of a month. That's how long it took to put together. It is the truth about popular culture. It's already going viral on YouTube. Going to play it at the bottom of the hour. Absolutely vital that we red pill the next generation. And by the next generation, I don't mean millennials, because they're pretty much a lost cause at this point. I'm talking about Generation Z, who are the most conservative generation, the most reality-based generation since World War II. These are the people we're really waking up. It's no longer a cliche. I get messages every single day, deluge of messages, not just from millennials, but from teenagers, people born after the year 2000. They're a massive source of our fan base, of our listenership right now. They are the most conservative generation since World War II. They are waking up quicker than ever. They are rejecting this toxic, plastic, contrived, vulgar, popular culture in greater and greater numbers and coming over to our side, the reality-based culture. And that is why I say conservatism is the new counterculture. Because one, it really triggers liberals. They really don't like it when you say that because they think they have a monopoly on cool. As Andrew Breitbart said, politics is downstream from culture. If you influence the culture, if you hijack the culture, if you hijack this celebrity bandwagon that feeds young people their political opinions, because of course most of them don't read newspapers, they don't watch television news, they get their opinions, their outlook from celebrities. If you are able to hijack that, you're able to turn around an entire generation. And Generation Z is really coming to fruition as the most red pill generation since World War II. The most, they call it conservative. It's really just reality-based, common sense-based generation. And it's the youngest generation. These people are going to be around for a while, and they're coming over to our side in greater and greater numbers. So we're going to get into that at the bottom of the hour with the truth about popular culture. Top story up on Infowars.com right now, though. Poll, clear majority of Europeans want total ban on Muslim immigration. And what do you know? The contrived narrative that this was outrageous, that only racists and Islamophobes and deplorables thought like this, has proven to be completely wrong, not only in the United States of America, where we had a Reuters Ipsos poll about a week ago, which said that Americans supported Trump's travel ban, 49 to 41%. Now in Europe, which is a lot further to the left than America, as you know, we have a massive survey, extensive new poll carried out by the Royal Institute of International Affairs, which is not Breitbart, okay? It's not the Daily Mail. It's not the Daily Express. It's not Marine Le Pen. It's not Nigel Farage. It's not Infowars.com. That is a globalist institution. If they wanted to manipulate this, they would not have manipulated the results this way, because they don't make very good reading if you're a globalist body that has supported mass immigration for the past several decades. This poll found 55% of Europeans agreed with the statement that they want to stop all further migration from mainly Muslim countries. 55%. Now, don't go thinking that, well, 45% said the opposite. No. 25% responded they don't know, so they didn't have an opinion either way. Just 20% of Europeans support further Muslim immigration. They asked 10,000 people in 10 different European countries, do you agree with the statement all further migration from mainly Muslim countries should be stopped? The huge, significant, clear majority agreed with that statement. This mainstream media narrative that this is a fringe issue, that it's outrageous, that it's racist to agree with this, completely debunked. This is now the mainstream view. We'll be back on the Alex Jones Show live with more. Infowars.com. Don't go away. We're really seeing the re-emergence of this weathermen-style ideology, this immediate resort to fists, to violence, to fighting, over actually having any kind of argument, any kind of reasoned political debate. Because the left, or the far left, at least for the time being, although it's being given cover by the mainstream left, they've lost the argument. They called us racist and Islamophobes for years, and for many years it worked. Let's admit it, it did work, even though it wasn't an argument. People bought it in the public eye because they were so afraid of being lumped into these groups. They were so afraid of being called these slurs, these pejoratives. So it worked for a while. And then it stopped working when people got wise to it, when access to information became so great that they could see it was completely transparent. And that's why we had Brexit. That's why we had Trump. That's why we had the rejection of the left in Italy. That's why we're going to have more massive rejection of the left in these European elections that are coming up in 2017. So their tactic of calling us racist failed. They finally understood that it has now failed and no longer works. Now we're seeing them move on to the next phase, which is this weatherman ideology of violence. This is why we see socialists at universities being trained to beat people up. This is why we see even celebrities now like David Harbour and others get up on stage at these award shows and say, just start punching people in the face because they're Nazis and anyone you disagree with is a Nazi. So that's kind of a dangerous idea, isn't it? First it's neo-Nazis, then it's Milo Yiannopoulos, then it's anyone who works for Breitbart, then it's just conservatives in general. And at the last Trump riot at Berkeley, they had a sign in graffiti saying, liberals get the bullet next. So don't think you're safe. It's like the old Nazi thing, you know, first they came for the communists, I wasn't a communist. First they came for the Jews, I wasn't a Jew. They've made it very explicit, this violent far left element, which is being funded by the establishment, by George Soros, that they see liberals as the enemy too. Yet what do we see across the board? Liberals giving them cover, justifying, legitimizing that very violence that we've seen over the last few weeks, which is only going to get worse if this is not decried. They've run out of arguments, now they're resorting to their fists, and they're seeking aid and comfort from actual terrorists. They're actually now aligning themselves with jihadists because they both share the same method and tactics of using violence, thuggery, and intimidation to get political power, like terrorists do. That's the very definition of terrorism, using violence to advance a political objective, which the far left is now doing with the implicit support of the mainstream left. But again, it's not working in the polls. They're losing the argument, and this new survey from the Royal Institute of International Affairs exemplifies that perfectly. Again, 55%, they asked 10,000 people. This wasn't a little phone survey with, 200 people. 10,000 people in 10 different European countries. If they agreed with the statement, all further migration from mainly Muslim countries should be stopped. 55% said yes. 20% disagreed with the statement. 25% said they don't know. You can break it down country by country. Even in Spain, which shows the weakest support for halting Muslim immigration, 41% endorse a halt compared to 32% who don't. And that is the weakest. And that's obviously because Spain hasn't had mass Muslim immigration, so they haven't had to deal with the consequences of it so far. But even in the weakest countries in terms of support for this statement, those are the numbers. You look at France, which of course over the past 2 years, numerous horrific terror attacks. They've had the Calais migrant camp debacle. They've had, basically now you go to Paris, it's like an open air migrant camp. There are people with mattresses on the streets. Even in the upscale areas of Paris, you look at the numbers there, 61% oppose Muslim immigration. And we're talking about a total ban here. 61% oppose, just 16% support it in France. Look at Germany, where, of course, they've invited in, what is it up to now, 1.3, 1.5 Muslim migrants, 99% Muslim migrants. Cologne, mass molestation, Hamburg, other areas. Well, the numbers show 53% of Germans support a total halt on Muslim immigration compared to 19% who oppose that view. And you can go through it country by country. Poland is even stronger, 71% oppose it compared to just 9% who support it. And then you look at millennials. They, out of everyone asked this same question, do you agree with the statement, all further migration from mainly Muslim countries should be stopped? amongst millennials, 18 to 29, 44% agree with that statement compared to 27% who don't. So even millennials support this by a clear majority. We're talking about by a 17% majority. Millennials in Europe want a total ban on Muslim immigration. Those are absolutely extraordinary numbers. The big question, of course, will they translate into the elections? We've got the French election coming up here in about 6 weeks' time, the first round of it at least. We've got the Netherlands election shortly after that with Geert Wilders. And of course, we have an election in Germany later this autumn, later this fall. Will those numbers translate into actual political change? What they tell us for the time being is that we're winning the argument. No matter how many Nazis you punch, which at this point is anyone who disagrees with you, we're winning the argument. You're looking increasingly deranged. You've allied yourselves with the very people who want to destroy the West. And they're openly engaging in an outreach right now. Of course, we had the story before. ISIS puts in its own manifesto that the far left in America and Europe broadly shares the same goal as them. So they're going to try and recruit them. And look at what's happening now, turning to brazen violence because they've run out of arguments. They've lost the argument. And the question is, why do large numbers, a clear majority of Europeans, support a total ban on Muslim immigration? Well, it's because they see that governments import huge numbers of people who are dependent on more government. Of course, it is the left that is the party of big government. It's a political objective to import large numbers of people that will vote for your agenda. That's one of the reasons why they do it. That's why they started doing it in the first place. You know, many of these people do want to escape a terrible life situation in the Middle East. It's not much fun to live there. Question, of course, is then why do they bring that whole culture over and just import it into Europe and just ghettoize and don't assimilate into what is clearly a superior culture, Western civilization? Of course, it's completely failed. Now we have a situation in Sweden which is so out of control that 2 top cops in Sweden have gone public at great risk to themselves, given the sheer level of intolerance to anything that's not far left in that country. 2 top cops in Sweden have now gone public decrying the impact of mass immigration. We have the article up on Infowars.com right now. Second Swedish police officer blows the whistle on migrant crime cover-up. A second Swedish police officer has gone public to blow the whistle on how authorities are covering up a migrant crime wave just days after another top cop was reported as a racist for making similar comments. Yeah. The first police officer, again, a veteran out of Obrero in Sweden, he posted a message on Facebook. It went completely viral. They reported him to the authorities as a racist simply for pointing out that the country is in chaos due to an epidemic of crimes, serious crimes being committed by Muslim migrants. And I know this for a fact because I see the stories every day, because I have friends who live in Sweden who now, they say, walking down the street hearing explosions in the background is just a routine part of day-to-day life. They just accept it. Not only do they have, we've had the video, we've had the clips, people throwing fireworks at people walking down the street. Now, these migrants literally just turn up at government offices and just throw grenades at the building. That's how bad it is. They cover it up because, of course, they don't want the public to know the full scale of the chaos. But they already know it because they live amongst it. We've had riots. We've had cars being torched almost every night now in Malmo. You know, one of the top police chief had his car torched just the other day. That was a big story. And according to yet another police officer, a veteran there in Sweden, they are using this code 291 procedure to cover up information about crimes committed by migrants, crimes which include terrorism. Okay, you've got this big media narrative against Donald Trump. Oh, the media's not reporting on Muslim terrorism. What a conspiracy theory that is. Well, actually, no. Germany have told, the authorities there have told the police not to report on the identity of suspects if they are migrants. whether they're committing low-level terrorism or serious crimes. Same situation in Sweden, and now another top cop has blown the whistle. This is Thomas Asenlov, who says that the Code 291 procedure is being used to cover up crimes committed by migrants. They're not releasing the photographs of the suspects in crimes to the public, even though it's in the interest of public safety to do so, because, again, they don't want to further this reality, to even establish this reality in the minds of the Swedish public, that mass immigration is causing huge problems. I know people that live there. I see the stories every single day. Of course, the first individual who came out to blow the whistle on this, Peter Springer, now he's been deluged with bouquets of flowers from the public who are supporting the fact that he was brave enough to go public in the first place. Now, his Facebook post, and we'll get into it after the break, again, he blew the whistle on this massive situation that's being covered up by authorities. Now he's getting the backlash. We'll come back more. We are going to get back into the news, but first I want to tell you about the specials at InfoWarsStore.com. We have the new book, The Bombshell Inside a Story of the Trump Presidency, the Making of the President, by the one and only Roger Stone, available now at InfoWarsStore.com for 20% off on this book for a limited time only. This is the officially available for an exclusive 20% off introductory special at InfoWarsStore.com, a behind-the-scenes inside story of Donald Trump's 2016 campaign. It's never been published anywhere else. This is the guy who will know, of course, Trump advisor, confidant at every step along the way, Roger Stone. The Making of the President details the account of Roger Stone and many other Trump insiders who have been longtime friends and advisors to Trump since the 1980s. The candid, bombshell, revelatory inside story of Trump's rise to prominence and how he won the presidency. You will find information like this in no other book, because he's got the inside skinny. He had it at every step of the way. And here it is in book format, The Making of the President by Roger Stone, 20% off at InfoWarsStore.com. We've also got Super Blue fluoride-free toothpaste back in stock after being sold out for months. Get it while it's still available, because it's going to go quick again. It is the best-selling Super Blue fluoride-free toothpaste. Of course, you know the research by now. We've been telling you about it for over a decade. Fluoride lowers your IQ, causes cancer, causes a number of other drastically terrible health complications. I mean, if you're not using fluoride-free toothpaste by now, I've personally been using it for about, 12, 13 years now. So why not get it off us? Because we have the groundbreaking new formula that's loaded with the good halogen iodine. Instead of the bad halogen fluoride, it contains natural oils and ingredients used since biblical times to help wipe out bad bacteria and eliminate bad breath. See, a lot of these fluoride-free toothpaste, they're thin, they don't foam up properly, and they don't work properly. They don't get rid of that morning breath. You don't even feel like you've really cleaned your teeth with some of these fluoride-free toothpaste. Not with Super Blue Fluoride. It gets the job done. It is available at InfoWarsStore.com. Get it quick, because last time we had it, it disappeared very quickly. It's not going to stick around for long. Fluoride-free Super Blue toothpaste available now at InfoWarsStore.com, as well as all the other great products. Now, getting back into the news, of course, I mentioned before the break, these two top cops in Sweden have gone public, saying every single crime, or almost every single crime that they process that comes across their desk, the suspect is named Mohammed, 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 Mohammed. You can spell it differently. The suspect is still named Mohammed. They're talking about serious crimes, rape, extortion, blackmail, abuse of judicial procedure, violence against the police, drug trafficking, aggravated drug offences, attempted murder. You've seen the horror stories out of Sweden. These cops have gone public, simply pointing out the reality. One of them, at least for the moment, has been reported to the authorities as a racist for pointing out these known facts. But finally, it seems, given the reaction, the public reaction to this officer going out, sticking his neck on the line and telling the truth, it seems that they're finally starting to come around. He was deluged with bouquets of flowers what's interesting is that the police department wouldn't allow the press to come and take photos of these flowers. You see them here, but the police department wouldn't allow the press into the police station to take photos of these because, again, that busts the narrative that there is now a huge groundswell of support, which is coalescing in the Sweden Democrats performing well recently in the polls against mass immigration and what it has done to Sweden. And let's just go through a few more stories to that effect just from today. Muslim migrants shouted, "Damn Germans," as they torched refugee camp. This is out of the Gateway Pundit. Muslim migrants shouted, "Damn Germans," and laughed as they torched a Dusseldorf refugee camp. Now, what was the reason for torching their own refugee camp at which they're looked after with taxpayer money at great expense? Well, they ran out of Nutella, which is a chocolate spread, and gummy bears. Okay? So supposedly fleeing war-torn Syria, supposedly fleeing ISIS, terror, civil war, and yet they get triggered and burn down their own asylum center because they ran out of gummy bears. Now, something tells me that not all of these refugees are actually fleeing war, and that many of them aren't actually refugees, and that they're just economic migrants. Could that be the case, do you think, if they get angry when they run out of gummy bears? Well, I wonder. We'll be back with more on The Alex Jones Show. The big video, The Truth About Popular Culture, is coming up. Don't go away. We'll be back.
This has been adopted as of 2017 by the Department of Defense. All 4 branches of the military, Combat One. And guess who in the spring of 2017 has the exclusive right to sell this to everybody else but the military? Infowars.com. I want to commend Q and Patrick and the rest of our team. I want to commend Combat One for getting the big Pentagon deal. And I want to thank them for supporting us because they know we support America. We are the exclusive source of Combat One skin and muscle optimization, field foam, field spray, skin and muscle optimization, and broad spectrum hygiene tactical bath. Contains 8 pre-moistened cloths. Ladies and gentlemen, these are incredibly affordable, and they have patented proprietary systems. That's why it's been adopted by the Pentagon, by the Defense Department, system-wide. I'm gonna go over some of the numbers, some of the proven statistics and the claims that Combat One can make right now. Never before has the public been able to access this new Combat One military-grade hygiene technology used by special operations to maintain hygiene during survival situations. Studied for safety and effectiveness by St. John's Medical Research Institute, St. Jude's, and the American Journal of Infection Control. The technology behind Combat One wipes kills bad bacteria while leaving beneficial skin bacteria unharmed. That's the key buffer. The toxic wipes, the sanitizers kill everything, including your immune system. They lower your fertility. It's all admitted. Combat One is able to do this naturally by only targeting the bad stuff. And again, it's all patented. It's super secret. 12 years, Special Forces testing it. This is something every info warrior needs to order, needs to have in their home, needs to use in their daily lives, whether it's cleaning your guns or your own skin, or when you're out camping. This is the game changer. The entire family of Combat One is available exclusively at InfoWarsStore.com.
Just coming back from the river where I was using one of our water filtration straws, a certain device we sell here at InfoWarsStore.com, and I had smacked my knuckle pretty hard the other day with my knife after cleaning one of the animals. So I want to use some Combat One foam, show you guys that we actually use it, how well it works. This wound's been open for about 5 days now. I just dipped it in and out of the river, so just to better safe than sorry. Once I let that soak in, I'll wrap it up, field dress, and nice and clean again.
And it certainly is coming to the rescue with Combat One, born in America, made in America, and now distributed by InfoWars to America.